Hey, what's going on, everybody? I hope you are all fine. It's time dealing with useEffect and generally talking about useEffect and what this thing is. So guys, useEffect is a hook which let us create side effects in functional components. Okay, it's the same like component did mount, component did update, and component will unmount. I didn't write will unmount here. So we usually use useEffect when we fetch data from API or when we change the DOM manually. Okay. With useEffect, we tell React that components need to do something after the first render. Okay, we need to update, for example, or to fetch data, as I write, from API. So by default, useEffect runs over and over after the first render. So generally, it creates an infinite loop by default if you don't put the array. So let's move and talk about this hook, the useEffect. So this is a function and this is a dependency. Here you can just let it empty. It means that useEffect, it will render only once. If you don't have this thing, you will see an infinite loop. Okay, right. useEffect. Let's say a couple of things. useEffect is a hook which creates side effects. Okay, what we mean with this? We mean that we fetch data from API, we are reading from local storage, and we activate or deactivate event listeners, and generally the DOM. So, effect runs always after React rendering. Right, let's move. So this thing is a callback function that contains the side effect. Okay, here in this thing, here inside the curly brackets, we have the side effects. We have generally that the things that we want to change or implement. Right. Now, this is a dependency array which executes the callback. Okay, here it will execute once because we have the curly, we got the array empty here. Right, let's move. So, when we don't have the array, this is here, when here we don't have the array, it means that useEffect will run after rendering always and always. It will create generally an infinite loop. So, useEffect. Now we can use useEffect when we put here props or state. What does it mean? It means that useEffect is going to render the first time and then only if the word props or the state is gonna change. So generally it's gonna watch for changes here if we put a state or props. And also keep in mind something, it is very important. It will work as component did update, as component did update. Now here useEffect, it plays a rule. As I told you, useEffect generally plays some rules, okay? In order to be precise, it plays a rule of component did mount. You remember the class-based component of component did mount, component did update, and component did unmount. So here, if we have props or state, it plays the rule of component did update because it's watching the state or props. Now works like component did mount because it's gonna render only the first time. For example, we have a state with an empty array and then a set state in which we want to bring data from an API, for example. So it's gonna render only the first time. For this reason, we keep this empty. When we take data from server, the first time React renders and then updates and bring the data. Now guys, in this diagram you can see that now works like component did update, as I previously told you. So when we take data from server, the first time React renders and then it's watching the state or props. Okay, here is the state or the props. Okay, here we got something here, we got a timer with the set timeout, and we got inside a hook function set date, which is gonna break the new date, right? Every 1 second. Then we have to clear this timeout, guys, and then to return the clear timeout. The reason, because if we are not going to clear it, it's gonna happen a memory leak. Okay, so we mainly use component. Now plays the rule, because we clear this thing, it plays the rule of component will unmount. Okay, we unmount this thing. We mainly use component will unmount when we want to clear or remove something from DOM. If we don't remove the set data, for example, set data, okay, we don't remove the timer in reality, the outcome will be memory leak, which will freeze the app, right? Okay, this was about was an introduction about useEffect, guys. The next tutorial will be an example about useEffect and about all these things generally we talked. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, guys. If you like it, just press the like, and of course, if you are not subscribed, subscribe to the channel for more and cool videos. So that was, guys. Have a nice day.